Well, as my beautiful co-host just said, you just heard Vice President Harris speaking at a church in Detroit. She vowed to move past division. But the reality is, she and her allies haven't been speaking like that. They've called Republicans sexist, fascist, garbage, just to name a couple. And now they're trying to push a new closing message, which is bringing Americans together. Jackie Heinrich is live in Detroit with more. Jackie.
Hey, Emily. Vice President Harris's surprise SNL visit last night might end up earning NBC an FCC violation because President Trump, according to his campaign, was not offered the same opportunity. Their lawyers, we have learned, are now considering filing a complaint, and the FCC commissioner called it a clear and blatant effort to evade the equal time rule. But Harris got her message out there, also in spite of the executive producer of that show vowing last month not to have either candidate on because that FCC rule makes it pretty complicated. But listen to what she said.
It is nice to see you, Kamala. It is nice to see you, Kamala. And I'm just here to remind you, you got this. Because you can do something your opponent cannot do. You can open doors. What you did there, like to a garbage truck, right?
Well, that quip took aim at Trump for struggling to open a garbage truck door at a campaign stop in Wisconsin this week, an event that he held to put the spotlight on Biden for disparaging Trump supporters as garbage. That comment from the president caused such an uproar, the White House press team tried to mitigate the fallout by changing the official transcript. Biden's campaign calls in support of Harris were canceled. During that fallout, he was left with no official Harris campaign events on his schedule until we reported that he'd been benched and the campaign added him back, only to return the favor with that off-color remark in Scranton he made yesterday that Lucas reported on earlier. It all follows another blunder from Harris campaign surrogate Mark Cuban, who had to apologize this week for deriding female Trump supporters. And all of this has made Harris's closing pitch quite a bit more fraud.
We see in our fellow Americans neighbors, not enemies. We believe in each other.
Today, Harris's events here in Michigan compete with football, so she is running that message in a 2-minute spot during the games, Emily.
Jackie Heinrich, thank you. Well, Marie Harf, I'd like to start with you on this, which is, we were talking a moment ago about potentially an exhaustion by both candidates. But the reality is that only one candidate has made a major heel turn, which has gone from division to unity. Do you think Americans will take that at face value, or do you think they'll question the veracity behind it?
Well, I actually don't think it's a total turn. Kamala Harris on the stump has been talking about all of these things that we can bring together. And that's why she's had so many Republican supporters who've endorsed her on stage at her events. Liz Cheney, she has a Dick Cheney endorsement, right? She has talked about the fact that a lot of Americans want to move past the chaos of the Trump years. And, you know, it's not just Democrats that are calling Donald Trump these names. It's his former chief of staff, John Kelly. It's former military officials who worked for him. It's former senior Republicans who worked for him. Not all, but some. And when you look at the other side, you know, you are right, Larry. Donald Trump should be talking about inflation and the border. And today he's on stage.
Well, they both should be.
And today she is.
Well,
today,
he is.
Today Trump is on stage talking about fluoride.
He's
talking about water hurricanes, talking about shooting reporters at his, joking about shooting reporters at his rallies.
We took his remarks last hour.
So
he was talking about the economy. I don't know what you want.
He was steady, Maria.
He is. You guys, look at what independent voters, not us, not people who do this every day for a living, people, like you said, who are exhausted by it and just coming in and out, they're seeing a lot of his rallies where he is not on message.
Okay.
And he sounds...
Can I just chime in?
He
Look,
sounds not fit to be president.
I want to say something. This business about former Chief of Staff General John Kelly hearing Trump talk about Adolf Hitler is just nonsense. Completely unproven. And Mick Mulvaney, former Trump budget director and chief of staff, wrote a long column about that. He said, I was there. I never heard him say that. I want to say to you, I was there. We all were in hundreds of meetings with the guy in his term. He never talked about Adolf Hitler. This is one of these made-up stories.
John Kelly made it up? You're saying John Kelly made it up?
No, lied? John Kelly never said it.
He has called him on the record a fascist. On the record, he said
that was corroborated by a New York Times report.
That's not true,
so
Larry.
This
not
thing
on
was
that
never
point.
true. Now, let me say a second point. Trump's closing statement here is in part about the dismal October jobs numbers that we just got on Friday, where we lost 100,000 private sector jobs. There were 112,000 downward revisions in the prior 2 months. All right, that's going to be the next block. But I want to say he is asking people, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? And that plus the border catastrophe and the associated crime with it, those are the two biggest issues. Kamala can say what she wants to say to the churches. I'm happy she's in church. Everybody should be in church on a Sunday. But the fact remains, it's about the economy, it's about inflation, the affordability crisis, and the border. Kamala never talks about that stuff because she wants to walk away from her record on that point.
I want to get Kaylee in, but
she wants to walk away from her record.
She talks about it in every single rally all the time.
Never talks about it.
You got to watch it more.
So the point that I wanted to ask you about specifically is that when she mentioned the, quote, chaos of the Trump administration, to all the specificity that Larry has talked about here, the reality is it wasn't chaos. The reality is the economy was flourishing. Americans had more in their pocket. Russia wasn't invading other countries. The reality was the chaos was sown by the current machinations of this administration, like Kamala and Biden, et cetera. So when you have this message from Kamala where the truth comes out, some argue, where half the Americans are garbage, and then all of a sudden it's a call for unity. The reality is the last 4 years have been so divisive because of people like her.
Absolutely. And just to echo what Larry said, look, Zach Fuentes, who was a top aide of John Kelly, when the Jeffrey Goldberg report came out, the first one, he came out and said, I never heard Trump use the language suckers and losers. So 24 White House sources did, many of which were firsthand observers of that trip to France. Just adding that.
There's never been a direct quote on that. There's never been a direct quote that was identified on that.
To your point,
this is all just made up stuff.
On the issue of unity. The issue of unity. It sounds like a beautiful thing. And when I hear her say, look, you all who I disagree with are my neighbors and my friends, that's a nice thing. Maybe you should share that with Joe Biden. When you say, I want to give you a seat at the table, maybe you should share that with Mark Cuban. Unity is a beautiful thing. When you heard Biden's inaugural address, he said it 6 dozen times. My soul yearns for unity, he said. But to your point, we've had 4 years of division. The vaccinated can be angry at the unvaccinated. Republicans, you're segregationists if you don't support my voting legislation. Garbage. You're a threat to democracy. And then with Kamala, you've heard fascism, 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 with a clear reference to a very dark period in our world's history. So unity sounds nice. You've had 4 years. You haven't done it.
Yeah, I'm disappointed that it has come down to anything but this ought to be about the American people. And I just found this great website. It's called days.20, like days to go. 11 hours, one day, 11 hours, 25 minutes, and 14 seconds. That's how long we have left for people to make their votes known. And that's what we ought to be focusing on. I know right now in Pennsylvania, in North Carolina, in areas where these candidates are going to hit, that's what people are concerned about. If they haven't made up their minds, and there are not that many undecided voters, but there are a lot of voters who like to vote on Election Day. So we can't assume that you're going to try to change everybody in these last few hours. Donald Trump knows that because he's done this before and won. She's learning it as she goes. But the truth of the matter is what you say now just should really be a rubber stamp on what you know to be true. It was chaotic the last 4 years. You talk about chaos. Chaos is when you have young girls and young women being raped and murdered by illegal immigrants, and you're not vetting people. Who told us that recently? Bill Clinton. I mean, that's the kind of chaos that we want to end. So, look, you have very little time to go make your vote heard, go make your voice heard, vote in your best interest.
I'm Steve Doocy. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.